Okay, welcome to the deep dive. Today we are cracking open a real cornerstone of modern self-help. It's a book that has mentored millions, particularly across the professional landscape in South Asia. Shiv Khera is incredibly influential. You can win. Our sources for this deep dive all point to one critical mission for you, the listener. We need to give you the fastest, clearest shortcut possible to understanding Khera's core philosophy. It doesn't promise, quick hacks or sudden riches. Instead, the non-negotiable message here is that success is not this mystical luck-based event. It's a formula, and it's based entirely on attitude, discipline, habits, and sustained, deliberate action. We're looking for the internal operating system Khera recommends.
Exactly. And what makes this book so distinct is that it's fundamentally focused on internal transformation before it talks about external rewards. It's written with this simple conversational clarity that makes it digestible for a college student and a seasoned professional alike. Khera really designed it to be less of a one-time read and more of a constant mentor. It relentlessly reinforces the psychological fundamentals we all know, but, often overlook when the pressure is on.
Absolutely. So if success is predictable, as he claims, what are the variables in that formula? We're going to break down the essential principles, the 7 pillars that Khera argues make personal and professional achievement a guaranteed outcome, provided you execute the plan. Okay, let's unpack this framework, starting with the single most important variable Khera identifies: attitude. This is where the entire structure is built, and frankly, here's where it gets really interesting.
Khera starts by saying ability, while crucial, only tells half the story. It's your attitude that ultimately determines your altitude. Think of ability as the engine and attitude as the steering wheel. A powerful engine is useless if the driver is aiming at a wall.
That distinction is key, because attitude often gets confused with simple, blind optimism. Khera is very precise about this. Having a positive attitude doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending problems don't exist. It's an active choice you make when facing those problems.
Precisely. It's the choice to adopt responsibility over blame and to shift your internal focus from dwelling on excuses, that classic why me mentality, to actively seeking solutions. The book is very direct about this dichotomy. You can have 2 people hit the exact same roadblock, maybe a failed project launch or a significant market setback. One person uses it as fuel for growth, learning what not to do next time. The other person just collapses into victimhood. The only controllable difference between those 2 outcomes is the attitude they chose in that defining moment.
And that leads us logically to the second pillar, which is the foundational mindset of success: taking responsibility and ownership, the winner's mindset.
This point is hammered home throughout the book. Winners take radical responsibility. Losers, on the other hand, become masters of external blame. It's so easy to outsource our failures, right? Blaming the economy, the political environment, the boss, or even the weather. Khera is adamant every time you point a finger, you surrender control.
But wait, if we connect this to the bigger picture, isn't there a risk of becoming too self-critical? I mean, some things are outside our control, like systemic issues or genuine bad luck. What does Khera say about the balance there?
He acknowledges the external world exists, of course, but his focus is purely on the response. He argues that the moment you start looking externally for the cause of your current situation, you simultaneously destroy your ability to change that situation. The powerful realization he wants you to grasp is this: you may not control the storm, but you absolutely control whether you choose to build a better shelter or just stand there waiting to be rained on. That internal control is the source of all your power and momentum.
That makes perfect sense. So once we own our responses and stabilize our attitude, the next logical step in building success is to fundamentally alter how we perceive the entire game. We have to challenge the myth of randomness.
And that's insight number 3. It's radical in its simplicity. Success is predictable. Khera challenges the whole narrative of the overnight sensation or the lucky break. He states that success follows very clear, discernible principles. And importantly, so does failure.
It's not magic, it's mechanics. People often look at someone successful and they see the final result, the big contract, the major promotion, and just assume they got lucky. But Khera emphasizes that success is the cumulative result of principles like discipline, integrity, consistency, and, sustained hard work.
Those principles are just habits, applied relentlessly. If you consistently show up, consistently prepare, and consistently deliver with integrity, the successful outcome isn't just a possibility. It's a near mathematical certainty over time. The results become predictable.
But to maintain those boring, tough habits, discipline, and consistency, you need a powerful engine running internally. Which brings us to insight number 4, self-esteem and self-image.
This raises a really important question. How do we build the internal mental framework strong enough to sustain those tough, predictable habits? Khera argues you will never consistently outperform your own self-image. It's impossible. If you internally define yourself as someone who isn't good with money or isn't a natural leader, your behavior will unconsciously limit your performance to match that internal definition.
So if I constantly engage in negative self-talk, saying things like, I'm always late or I never finish what I start, I am silently setting a ceiling on my ability to implement the discipline Kara talks about. So how does the book suggest we actively change that internal script?
Well, the book emphasizes techniques like daily affirmations and self-talk modification. Khera encourages you to identify the limiting beliefs and replace them with intentional, positive statements that reflect the person you want to be, not the person you fear you are. You have to visualize the successful, ethical, disciplined self, and then act as if that visualization is already true. That conscious effort to resculpt your self-image is the mechanism that allows you to sustain the hard work necessary for predictable success.
Okay, moving from that deep internal work to external results. The book spends a lot of time defining the ethical boundaries of winning. It's not just about what you achieve, but how you achieve it.
That leads us to insight number 5, goals, values, and ethics. Khera introduces a core metric here. Success without integrity is, ultimately, failure. He makes a very strong case that a victory won through deception or corruption is structurally unsound. It carries a heavy, unsustainable cost, whether that's reputation damage, legal trouble, or just internal moral erosion.
This provides a necessary grounding for any achievement. You have to set clear, ambitious goals, but they are utterly meaningless unless they are completely aligned with core values like honesty, fairness, and transparency. If you have to choose between your goal and your values, Khera's message is crystal clear. The value wins every single time. That's what sustains long-term achievement.
And that integrity feeds directly into the quality of your work. Which brings us to insight number 6. Excellence is a habit. And what's fascinating here is the definition Khera provides. Excellence doesn't come from those rare, extraordinary actions, the heroic save or the major breakthrough.
So where does it come from then?
It comes from the continuous practice of doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. Think about that nuance for a moment. Most of your day is spent on ordinary tasks. Replying to emails, filling out reports, making phone calls, showing up on time. Excellence means dedicating the same high standard of attention and quality to your first email of the day as you would to the final presentation you give.
I love that because it makes excellence accessible. It's not about talent, it's about a commitment to process. For you, the listener, maybe that means every report you submit is proofread 3 times, or every customer query you handle is treated as if it were the most important interaction of the day. Winners impose this standard of excellence daily in the small tasks, even and especially when no one is actively watching or grading their performance.
Exactly. It's a self-imposed standard. The successful person understands that the quality of their routine tasks defines the quality of their ultimate outcomes.
Now, setting high standards means sometimes you're going to fall short. We can't talk about success without addressing the painful reality of setbacks. How does Khera advise us to reframe that experience?
This is insight number 7, and it's a crucial mindset shift for resilience. Failure is feedback, not defeat. The book makes a very clear distinction. Failure is an event. It is not a defining characteristic of a person. You may have failed at a task, but you are not inherently a failure.
That's a huge psychological hurdle to clear. If you personalize the failure, you internalize it, and it just drags down your self-image. But if you see it as feedback, as data, what does that change?
It changes everything. Every failure carries a valuable, hard-won lesson. It identifies a weakness in your approach, a gap in your knowledge, or an external factor you didn't anticipate. The mindset shift here is that quitting doesn't just stop the pain. Quitting actively wastes that lesson. If you quit, you have to start over from zero without the benefit of the expensive experience you just paid for. A winner learns, adjusts the strategy, and tries again immediately.
That reframing is key to sustained growth. But now, as we wrap up these principles, let's talk directly to you, the learner, about the book's experience itself. For someone seeking tactical guidance, this book might feel slightly different.
That's a necessary caveat. Khera's style is simple, direct, and incredibly motivational. Its greatest strengths are the clarity of its philosophy and its unwavering focus on the attitude and responsibility connection. It's truly ideal for someone new to self-development or maybe a student who needs a bedrock foundation before they start layering on complex career strategies.
It also gets high marks for its strong, persistent encouragement of ethical success. It grounds discipline and integrity, which is a key differentiator from some other pure motivational texts.
However, we have to note the common criticisms. If you're an advanced reader, deep into leadership theory or behavioral science, some of the core concepts like, attitude is important may feel very basic. But it's important to understand why the book does this. The repetition that sometimes frustrates readers is intentional. It's designed to drill the fundamentals deep into your subconscious, acting like mental muscle memory.
And crucially, this book is far more motivation-heavy, the why and the how to think, than it is strategy-heavy. Don't go looking for specific financial planning advice or digital marketing tactics. You are getting a masterclass in internal character building. So what does this entire framework mean when we synthesize the 7 principles? The overall consensus drawn from our sources is that You Can Win is the ultimate anti-shortcut book. It proves that lasting success doesn't come from a secret handshake or a clever hack. It comes from the mastery of non-negotiable basics: a radical ownership of attitude, unwavering discipline, personal responsibility, and ethical integrity.
Success absolutely begins with self-belief, that necessary internal visualization. But remember Khera's ultimate lesson. It is only sustained by character, the continuous application of those high standards, even when the world isn't watching you.
Given that Khera defines success as predictable and excellence as the habit of doing ordinary things extraordinarily well, let's leave you with one final thought to mull over. Take a moment to think about your current week. What ordinary, seemingly small daily action, maybe replying to an email, showing up 5 minutes early, or making a consistent entry in your daily journal, are you currently underestimating that, if practiced with excellence and consistency, could become the very predictable foundation for your massive future success? That small shift in standard is something powerful to chew on.